there, have you ever, sat in front of your computer with that long to-do list staring back at you, deadlines breathing down your neck, but you just can't do a thing? Your mind is just blank. Your body feels heavy, like it's filled with lead. So you open a social media tab and scroll endlessly. You watch some random meaningless video. Time slips by, and then that familiar voice creeps into your head. You're so lazy. It's just one simple task and you can't even do it. Other people are out there doing so much more. That voice is harsh, isn't it? It just shatters whatever little piece you have left and replaces it with this tangled mess of guilt, self-blame, and shame. We've all been programmed to believe that any kind of inaction comes from laziness, a character flaw, a sign of indiscipline. But I want to ask you to just take a deep breath with me and let's talk for a minute, because maybe, just maybe, that voice is wrong this time. Maybe you're not lazy at all. Maybe you're just burnt out. And the difference between those two things, it's not just semantics. It's the thin, fragile line between choice and depletion, between I don't want to and I can't. And realizing where that line is, it can completely change the way you treat yourself. Think of it like this. Laziness is like having a car with a full tank of gas. The key is in the ignition. The road ahead is smooth, but you decide to just sit inside and listen to music because you just don't feel like driving right now. You have the energy, you have the resources, but you're actively choosing to procrastinate for a little bit of instant comfort. It's a conscious trade-off. You know you need to do the dishes, but one more episode of that show just seems so much more appealing. You have the strength to do it. You just lack the motivation at that moment. But burnout? Oh, that's a completely different story. Burnout is when your gas tank isn't just empty. The engine has overheated. The tires are worn thin. And the internal electronics are all flashing error codes. You're in the driver's seat, hands gripping the wheel, foot pressing the gas pedal. But the car doesn't move. Trying to start it just makes the engine let out this exhausted, grinding sound. You want to go. You know you have to go, but you just can't. This isn't a choice. It's a state of being. In this modern world that worships being busy, we often get these two mixed up. We take pride in the grind, in pulling all-nighters, in answering emails at 2 a.m. Society praises the relentless worker and treats rest like a luxury. or even a weakness. So, slowly, we force ourselves onto this treadmill that has no off switch. We just keep running and running until we're completely depleted without even realizing it. And here's where a little bit of science comes in. Not to make it complicated, but just to validate that what you're feeling is, well, it's real. When we face prolonged stress, our bodies constantly release cortisol, that fight or flight hormone. In small doses, it's great. It helps us focus. But when that stress becomes chronic, our body's alarm system gets stuck in the on position. It's like constantly revving a car's engine without ever letting it cool down. That constant high level of cortisol just wears down your body and your mind. It weakens your immune system. Ever notice you get sick more often when you're stressed? It messes with your sleep. You're exhausted, but you can't sleep deeply. And it directly impacts your prefrontal cortex, the brain's CEO, responsible for decision-making, planning, and focus. That's why when you're burnt out, you don't just feel physically tired. You also feel an emotional emptiness. You just feel drained. You don't have the energy to care about anything anymore. Not even the things you used to love. Joy feels distant. Cynicism and detachment. You start to feel like your work is meaningless. You get irritable. You feel disconnected from your colleagues, your friends, even from yourself. You feel like you're just existing, not living. A drop in performance. No matter how hard you try, you feel like you're not effective. You make more mistakes. You can't concentrate. And that awful feeling of being incompetent starts to creep in. A lazy person, on the other hand, usually doesn't experience this deep, painful cocktail of emotions. They might feel a little guilty, sure, but after procrastinating, they still have the energy to enjoy other things. But when you're burnt out, even when you're doing nothing, you can't rest. The exhaustion gnaws at you even in your sleep. A weekend off isn't enough to recharge a battery that's been completely fried. So, how can you tell the difference? Try asking yourself these questions gently. If a magic wand could instantly finish this task for me, how would I feel? If the answer is amazing, now I have the energy to do something else. Go hang out, relax. Then you might just be lazy or bored with that specific task. But if the answer is, I'd still feel exhausted, empty, and just anxious about the next thing on the list, that could be a sign of burnout. The problem isn't the single task. It's that your entire system is overloaded. How long have I been feeling this way? Laziness is often temporary. You might feel lazy on a Monday morning, but be full of energy by Friday afternoon. Burnout. Oh, Burnout is like a thick fog that hangs around for weeks or even months. It's a chronic bone-deep weariness that just doesn't leave. Deep down, do I want to do this? Laziness often says, I know I should, but I just don't want to right now. Burnout says, I really, really want to get this done. I want to feel productive, but I don't have a single drop of energy to even start. Realizing that you're burnt out, not lazy, is such a powerful first step. It shifts the narrative from self-blame, I'm a terrible person, to self-compassion, my body and mind are asking for help. It gives you permission to stop whipping yourself and start looking for ways to heal. And healing, it doesn't require some grand gesture. It starts with the smallest things. It starts with giving yourself permission to truly rest. Not the kind of rest where your mind is still racing with a million to-do lists, but real rest, where you allow your mind to be quiet. Maybe it's just 10 minutes, sitting quietly by a window, no phone, no computer. Maybe it's a short walk, focusing on the feeling of your feet on the ground. It starts with learning to say no. Turning down a new project when you're already overloaded. Setting boundaries around your work hours. Protecting your own space and your own energy. It starts with finding tiny pockets of joy again. The smell of your morning coffee, a song you love, a conversation with a friend where you don't talk about work. These are like little drops of water on dry, cracked earth. And most importantly, it starts with talking to yourself with kindness instead of, you're so lazy. Try. You've worked so hard. It's okay to be tired. Let's just rest for a bit. So, the next time you find yourself frozen in front of a mountain of work, just pause for a second before that judgmental voice chimes in. Ask yourself gently, do I need a push of discipline right now, or do I need the embrace of rest? The difference between laziness and burnout is the difference between needing discipline and needing compassion. In a world that's always pushing us to do more, be faster. Recognizing your limits and allowing yourself to stop isn't weakness. It is the bravest and most necessary thing you can do to be able to keep going in the long run. You're not lazy, maybe. You're just a human being with a finite amount of energy, living in a world with infinite demands. And that's perfectly okay. Please, let yourself rest.